Other excitingly named Android Project Software Functional Requirements Document version 0.91, July 2nd, 2006, reveals that Google was focusing all its attention on phones with buttons until the iPhone came along. One Steve Jobs boom later, and Android suddenly got all touchy.
Take a look at some of the older smartphones that were made before the iPhone came out by Samsung. Now, they didn't look a lot like the iPhone. They were smartphones that came out beforehand, so they were original to Samsung devices. Take a look at these Galaxy, Vibrant, the other Galaxies. You could take a look here. They look exactly like the iPhone does. They have a couple more buttons, but overall, the design is very similar to the iPhone itself. Now, when did this change happen? After the iPhone came out, and it happened gradually made it look more and more like the iPhone.
Suddenly, Samsung decided to build it out of the same materials the iPhone 4 and every iPhone after that was made of. The orientation of the volume rocker speaker and the volume button. So first off, the speaker looks very similar. They moved the jack down below to where it is on the iPhone. The actual volume button has been split in two. It was a one single button before, so it looks extremely similar. Overall, all of these have been rearranged to look just like an iPhone. The design similarities cross into things as small as the antenna bands. They look just like the ones from the iPhone, as well as the SIM card tray. I mean, something so small was even copied. Samsung even decided to iPhoneify the storage and the battery. You can no longer replace either one of these, and you have to pay in increments if you want to get more storage, just like the iPhone. Now, there will be a version of the S6 where you can do this, but the standard S6 and S6 Edge have almost the same memory options as the iPhone and no longer a user replaceable battery. Ah, yes, Samsung, tighten your grip. Make these people feel like they own an Apple device. I mean, this world needs less customization. Who wants to be able to do this? In the previous Galaxy S5, you had to slide down to use that fingerprint sensor. Well, just like the iPhone, the new Galaxy S6 adds functionality where you can just press down and it works just like an iPhone. The similarities on the fingerprint sensor don't stop there. In the actual software side, when you're registering your fingerprint, like the iOS, the fingerprint symbol starts growing the more you press it. I mean, it's just so obvious they copied all of this from Apple. Apple has seen some major success with their Apple Pay system. Well, Samsung wanted to get a piece of that pie, and they created Samsung Pay. It even sounds similar. Well, first off, it does everything that Apple Pay can, pretty much an exact copy of Apple Pay. Look how hard Samsung tried to replicate the Apple iOS keyboard in their TouchWiz user interface. It looks so similar. In fact, the Galaxy S5 keyboard looks very much different from the S6. It's like the engineers working on it were put to the task to make it as similar to the iPhone 6 without making it too obvious. Even as something as basic as the headphones, Samsung decided, hey, Apple's were better, so let's just make ours look like theirs. I mean, take a look at the similarities. It's hard to say they're not similar. They look just like the Apple EarPods.
To a 2011 Samsung strategy plan, a plan heading Beat Apple on page 2, Samsung's #1 priority is, quite simply, beating Apple. If Apple wants to cause a stir at Samsung, it should leak news that the iPhone 7 will contain a unicorn, run on dilithium crystals, and include a metal detector. In Samsung's 2012 strategy plan, it described the then threat of the iPhone 5, which it predicted would include LTE, social networking, cloud integration, improved Siri, and consumer electronics integration. Somebody's been reading our rumor roundups.
Now the iPad, if you were to sum it up, is our most advanced technology in a magical and revolutionary device at an unbelievable price. Our most advanced technology in a magical and revolutionary device at an unbelievable price. And we think this is going to be a really great combination. Now, the reason that Apple's able to create products like the iPad is because we've always tried to be at the intersection of technology and liberal arts. To be able to get the best of both, to make extremely advanced products from a technology point of view, but also have them be intuitive, easy to use, fun to use, so that they really fit the users. The users don't have to come to them, they come to the user. And it's the combination of these two things that I think has let us make the kind of creative products like the iPad. So, we've got a hands-on area next door. We'd like you to go get your hands on an iPad, because when you feel all this power and this much fun and the internet in your hands, you'll never want to go back. So thank you so much for coming this morning, and we hope you love the iPad as much as we do. Thank you very much.
그 미니멀 오게닉이라는 주제를 가지고 친화적인 그런 그 디자인을 하였고요. 첨단의 기술을 가지고 있지만 사람이 그 기술을 갖다 알기 위해서 노력할 필요 없이 기술이 알아서 사람들에게 맞춰주는 의미 있는 가치를 줄 수 있는 그러한 디자인을 만들고자 노력하였습니다.
사용자들이 이 폰을 접했을 때 가장 최고의 기술이 이 안에 들어가 있지만 사용자들이 사용할 때는 그 기술력을 느낄 수 없을 정도로 자연스럽게 그리고 편안하게 감동적으로 설계하는 데 초점을 두었습니다.
많은 노력이 필요하듯이 이런 새로운 조형에 있어서의 뒷받침되는 여러 가지 테크놀로지가 같이 동반 상승했다는 것에 대해서 굉장히 저는 기쁘게 생각하고 있고요. 갤럭시 S는 과거의 완성형 제품이 아니라 이제 새로운 스마트폰의 시작이라는 점을 강조해드리고 싶습니다.
You can see how much the iPhone has influenced the phone industry, how the phones looked before the iPhone was released in January of 2007, and how the phones look today after the iPhone's release. Every single smartphone that we use today is based on applications or apps. Apps were introduced by Apple in 2008 with the iPhone 3G, along with the App Store, a place where you could buy all sorts of apps. Thousands of apps that can do anything you can imagine, from finding your car to taking you into outer space, letting you explore the planets. In only a couple of months, Apple managed to get over 200,000 apps into the App Store, and there was basically an app for anything you could imagine. Apple even came up with the famous phrase, "There's an app for that." But 4 years after Apple has released the famous App Store, every single major developer in the world has its own App Store. Google has the Android market. Microsoft has the Windows Phone 7 marketplace. For some reason, everyone tries to copy Apple. Take a look at the Samsung Galaxy S, for example. Not only does the Samsung Galaxy S have its own apps, but they all look exactly like the ones on the iPhone. They all have rounded corners. They even positioned the apps exactly like on the iPhone, in 4 rows of apps, of main apps, and 1 bottom row of really important apps. Not to mention that the design of the Samsung Galaxy S is identical to the design of the iPhone 3G and the iPhone 3GS. I mean, seriously, Samsung couldn't even design their own app icons. As you can see, the Contacts app looks exactly the same like the iPhones. A man with an orange background. The settings icon has this wheel like on the iPhone, but they colored it in blue. The notes looks exactly the same like the iPhones. The only difference is that they folded the page so they don't look exactly the same, but 99% they are identical. The phone icon is even worse. Samsung didn't even bother to change the background color or to put a different phone in the icon. They even have the exact same positioning of the phone on diagonal. Even the accessories look the same, from the chargers to adapters to 30-pin dock connectors. They all look identical, exactly the same. The same goes for the boxes. The Samsung Galaxy Tab box looks exactly the same like the iPads, and the Nexus S looks exactly the same like the iPhones. And the same goes for the apps in their design. As you can see, the voice recorder app on the Galaxy S looks exactly the same like the one on the iPhone. Even the Samsung dock found on some Galaxy Tab devices looks identical to the macOS dock. As you can see, it has the exact same transparent look with some apps in it. The worst copy or the best copy has to be the Maps app. As you can see, it's it's like it were photoshopped. It looks exactly the same like the one on the iPhone, but this is only on some Samsung devices, so this is not on all Samsung devices. So for some reason, everyone copies Apple, from device designs, the iPod Touch, the Mac Mini, the MacBook Pro, and even the Apple Store. Samsung even copied the Apple Store, but they forgot to erase Apple apps from it. As you can see, the App Store, the iTunes Store, they all are included in the Samsung Store. So I believe they should call it the iSamsung Store or the iSam Store or something like that. At the end, all I have to say is why. Why does everyone in the world have to copy Apple? Why does everyone have to wait until Apple releases a revolutionary device until they copy it and make cheap knockoffs, cheap duplicates, cheap replicas of it? Why? I haven't found the answer to this question yet, but I believe that Apple impresses through their designs, and that's why Apple is the most copied company in the world. Take a look at the MacBook Air, for example. 4 years after the MacBook Air was released by Apple, every single major company in the world has its own MacBook Air. They called them Ultrabooks, by the way. Those really thin laptops which have no optical drive and run only on SSD and also have an impressive battery life. Those were the features which represented the MacBook Air back in 2008. Today, Microsoft, LG, Nokia, HTC, Samsung, so on and so forth, they all have their own MacBook Air. they all have their own iPad and they all have their own iPhone. So the question is, did everyone copy Apple? And the answer is simple. Yes, they did.